There we go.
Perfect. Yeah, everyone I have on, normally it's like the first time they've used Skype in like 10 years. They're all like, the fuck am I doing? What do I press? How do I? I'm just like, dude, take your time. I don't know what I don't think
Yeah.
I didn't, yeah, I didn't use Skype in like 9 years before I started this podcast again. It was literally like last logged in like November 2011. I was like, oh, Jesus. So, yeah. Um, yeah, dude. So, what's up? I like your hat.
What? Thanks. I stole it from my boyfriend because
Yeah,
I haven't showered in like 2 days.
Yeah, Captain America, dude. I like it.
It's like the only Avenger that I really care about.
Yeah.
I'm not really a Marvel person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, dude. Weird coincidence. This morning I saw a guy at the gym who actually had like he had a full sleeve tattoo, but it was like Bucky. It was like the metal arm with like the red star on it.
cool.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, I didn't have contacts in, and I was like, is that? And like the dude could pull it off. He was jacked. Like, you know, if he was fat, it wouldn't look as good. But he was. I was like, holy shit, it's goddamn Bucky. But yeah, so that was badass. But yeah. So like I kind of say at the beginning of every podcast, I don't actually know who I'm talking to. Like I know, you know, like I had a guy the other day who was like a military interrogator. Like that's all I knew though, and it was just like, fuck it, let's do it live. I just figure it out as we go. There's no script, there's no nothing. So I know that it's photography, it's fashion photography, correct?
Yes. Not as interesting as a military interrogator.
Oh, dude, I've military interrogators to like female professional powerlifters to like a guy that accidentally joined a cult. Like I just have on anyone interesting. I have them on. Yeah, people always ask me like, "What's the podcast about?" I'm like, it has a beginning and an end. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, so
you could probably just say like having a conversation with strangers. Honestly,
that's what I've started telling people. It's like, I don't know. I'm just talking to strangers. Like it's, you know, like, do you have any prepared questions? And I'm like, no. Like it's just, I'm just fucking winging it. But yeah. So all I know is you do fashion photography. I saw you had an IMA on Reddit. I messaged you. Yeah. And you got back to me and we're like, yeah, let's do it. So I was like, let's do it. And that's all I know. So why don't you introduce yourself and what you do? And again, we'll just wing it. Do it live.
All right. Well, I'm Colleen Carney. I do fashion photography. I've been doing photography for about 8 years or so, since high school at least. I like to say I've been doing it for 8 years, but I haven't been good for 8 years. I've been good for like maybe 4 at the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to live in St. Louis, but we don't really have much of a fashion photography scene there. So I moved up to Chicago trying to get my business started.
Yeah.
And then last year around July was my first time I tried to go full time with it. So ever since then, I'm kind of like self-employed, doing my own work. So it's new and interesting.
Yeah.
But
dude, that's so cool. That's so cool. What is it? What is it? That's because like that's my goal. I graduated college in 2013, University of Georgia, and I was a biology major, and I got into medical school, but I was like, this isn't what I really want to do. Like, I'm not happy. And my uncle was like, if you're smart enough to be a doctor, you're smart enough to make money, you know, doing something you like. And I was like, okay. Fast forward 7 years, still not there. I'm like, okay, shit, I could be an MD by now. But yeah, I started this podcast in last December. I taught myself graphic design 3 years prior. For the 3 prior years to that, this is like my 5th iteration at trying to create a business. But like my end goal is to be self-employed. To me, that is more satisfying than getting into medical school. So I didn't know you were self-employed. So that's completely hooked me already. So like, what is that like, dude? What, like, because to me that is the holy grail. That is like, I call it alchemy because that's what it seems like. Like people do stuff that they like and they make money. I'm like, I can't. It's like, what is the sound of one hand clapping? Like I can't wrap it together. I'm like, I've always just associated like you work hard doing something you hate, and that's how you get something you like.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I've never been the kind of person who has been like, oh, I'll just do something I hate and make money. I don't know where I got it from, but I'm hella stubborn. So if I want to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I actually went to college for commercial photography is technically what it was. I went to college for that for 3 years, realized like what I was doing at school was a waste of my time.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up leaving, and then I ended up going to a community college like in my hometown rather than out of town, I guess. And then I finished up there and moved to Chicago, and my parents were just like, why didn't you just finish your bachelor's degree? You could have had a bachelor's degree. And I was like, I don't care, I'm not learning anything there. I'm saving you some money by like going to a community college for the last year, but so I've always just been kind of doing whatever I wanted to do. Like moving to Chicago too is just kind of like, I don't want to be in St. Louis anymore.
Dude,
so
dude, I'm the same way. It was literally like freshman year of college. I was like never an A student in my life, and I just literally decided one day. I was like quite literally one day. I was like sitting in like the fraternity house, and I was like, I'm gonna be a doctor, and just like. I remember my friend looked at me. He was like, "What? Like what?" Literally, he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I need to go to the library tomorrow." And I like went to bed, and I woke up the next day, went to the library all day, and my roommates were like, "That was kind of weird," because I was always just like this meathead who didn't study. Like my brothers are all really smart, and I was like, "I gotta go," and I went to the library, and I like that night they were like, "All right, we going out?" And I was like, "No, this is my sophomore year of college," and I was like, "No, I gotta go to the library again tomorrow," and it just.
Dedication
for 6 straight semesters, and it was just but the joke was it was literally like, hey, hold my beer, I'm gonna go get into medical school. Like 3 years later, like I got in, all right, where's my beer? It was like that. And but like you, stubborn. That was stubborn, and that this is what I want to do. And then I got in, and I just really wasn't happy. It had been sitting under the surface for quite a while. Came out, and I was just like, I'm really not happy. And then same stubbornness like yourself. I was just like, I'm not doing it. And, everyone was like, what do you mean you're not doing it? And I was like, I don't want to do it. And it was just, that was it. So yeah, dude, it's clearly worked out for you. It has yet to work out for me. I'm hoping it will work out, but
yet to be seen.
Dude,
I'm still working.
Yeah. But I mean, you're actually like, so like, what do you do? How do you find clients? What do you find clients for? Like,
it's kind of a mixed bag for me right now because I'm so new with self-employment. I'm getting kind of like commercial jobs, but they're all over the place. So I'm not like doing any like one type of commercial job in particular. So I guess usually what I've been hired for in the past year or so is jewelry.
Okay.
So work, which is like stuff you would find on websites of like just the earring on like a model.
Yeah. The hand.
And then also just like product stuff for social media. I've done product for a jewelry company for social media, a bridal company, a scarf company. Like a lot of them are startups that are just kind of new and like need photo.
Yeah.
But I've worked with like 2 kind of established brands. That's usually like my paid work. What I'd like my paid work to be would be like the creative stuff. But like right now, that's kind of, I'll come up with something on my own and then just kind of shoot it.
Yeah.
If it's something I want to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It seems like that's the way to go with like creative design is because like I like for a while I was designing just like random clothes and shit, and it was kind of like you got to take commissions from people and like you got to make shirts for the softball league or something. It's like this isn't what or like the business end of the whatever, just like something you don't really want to do, but it's still better than like not doing something related to your passion. And then the time in between, you're like, you can make your own funky creative stuff. And it just so happens that like no one ever likes that stuff, but it's the shit you love. And you're like, oh, screw it, I'm doing it. I feel like eventually that, I don't know, like that kind of breaks through, it's like, it's almost like a caterpillar. It kind of turns into a butterfly. But like in the meantime, you still have to do the other stuff to make money, Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am with this right now is this podcast is like Actually, not really at all. That's not a good analogy at all because I only talk to people I want to talk to. It's not like,
No, I think it could still work.
Yeah.
Because you're doing stuff you want to do, but like you don't know who you're talking to really. Like even if maybe you don't want to talk to them, it's not like I don't know. Never mind. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I can talk to anyone. Like I can talk to anyone, and I've always been able to. And I was literally hanging out with my best friend last November, and I was like, I'd been debating starting a podcast for like 5 years, and I've known this guy since 2001, and he was like, dude, you've been doing podcasts your whole life. You haven't been recording them. He was like, I watch you just sit down and talk to people. He was like, just hit record. Like people get paid for this stuff. And I was like, really? And he was like, yes, you idiot. So yeah, I was just like, all right. Like, so yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, I don't have anyone on that I don't want to talk to. Like there's no like, you should have so-and-so on like
personable, like social person, like complete opposite of me. I am very much of a homebody who I'm like, if you're talking to me and I don't want to talk to you, like get out of here.
Oh no, dude, I'm a homebody. There's a reason why I don't have like a studio and invite people in. That's why I do it from Skype. I'm like, I don't want to meet you people. I'm here in my house. My dog's downstairs. I don't want to. No, go away. Outside world sucks. I like it in here. I'll get to the gym in the morning. I'll go get food. Aside from that, man, no. It's all about bedrooms one room over. No, I'm a homebody, dude. I'm like an extroverted introvert. I love talking to people through this, but like you, man, I'm like, no, dude, I'm gonna watch I watched Pacific Rim twice yesterday. Like, I don't want to talk to people. You what?
Such a good movie.
I thought you were gonna say you hate that movie. I was like, I love that movie.
No. I love that movie. Dude, I love Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah. Have you seen the second one?
I didn't because I heard it wasn't that good.
I heard it was terrible. I heard it was absolutely terrible. I heard it was all cheesy and stuff. And then finally, like 2 nights ago, I was like, why am I listening to other people's reviews? Like, what I want to see are giant robots and monsters. Like, I'm not looking for depth. I'm not looking for character development. I'm not looking for substance and controversy. Like, I want to see skyscrapers made out of metal punching skyscraper-sized monsters. So I downloaded it. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, the plot sucks, but like, so does the first one. Like, the acting is terrible, but it's just the monsters fighting each other. It's awesome. I highly recommend it.
Okay, I'll have to watch it then.
Yeah.
Because I'm avoiding it because people said it sucks, and I'm like, well, I don't ruin the magic of the first one.
Exactly. Yeah,
same magic, I should just watch.
Yeah, every review is like, it's terrible. They use like teenagers, like, it's just like, yeah, it must be terrible. And then finally yesterday, or 2 days ago, I was like, why the hell am I, like, why would I not, like, what all am I expecting, It's like people that tear apart Marvel movies. I'm like, it's not realistic enough? Like, it's a dude that was frozen on ice for 80 years, like, in a giant monster, like shut the hell up. But yeah, dude. So, but yeah, like, that's homebody, do a podcast, and then, I want to watch robots and aliens fight. I don't want to talk to people. I don't go out. When I go visit my best friend, like, we play video games all weekend. Like, we wear pajamas and order pizza. Like, we don't even go to the store to get food. Everyone else, I'm 29. Everyone else we're going to the clubs. We're going out. And I'm like, no, fuck that. People? No, it's me. We're in pajamas, just like letting our bellies hang out and eat pizza. Like, screw that, dude.
Coerce my friends to come over and just have movie nights.
Yes. It's like, dude, come over. Let's just watch movies. Like, and then what? Like, I don't know. Go to sleep. I don't want to. Like, I don't want to go out. But no, I feel that entirely. But so like what? So like when people hire you to photograph, let's just say like jewelry on a hand, do they know what they want, or is it something that's kind of like? When I would do graphic design, I slowly realized that like I could pretty much do what I wanted because to people that don't do Photoshop is black magic. So it's just like you can just choose a font and people are like, it's amazing. And you're like, all right, like, like versus like at first I made the mistake of looking at it like other like graphic design people are looking at it. And then I was like, wait, no, these are people that don't know anything about it. So with photos, are there people that are like, we want this, we want that? Or is it just like, your photos, it's just already like light years above them?
I think it depends. So like with the starting companies that I worked with, the scarf one, for example, she didn't know exactly what she wanted because she hadn't had any professional photos before.
Okay.
Wanted to get like social media stuff for her Instagram. And currently her Instagram was only like photos of her friends wearing her scarves.
Okay.
So she kind of looked at my website and then kind of looked through it and was like, okay, that is kind of something I like. This is kind of something I like. Can you like do both together? Mm-hmm. So she picked out like one of my like creative editorial photos and she was it's just like a sheet basically that I bought from Walmart, but it looks like fabric.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, that'd be really cool if we did that for the backdrop because it looks like a scarf or something.
Yeah.
And then from there, we just kind of like, okay, do you want natural light? Do you want studio light? So they usually kind of have a vision already, especially since it's like a brand of theirs. But like it can get even more specific than that. Like, one of the jewelry companies that I work for, since it's e-com, it's like very specific. It has to look exactly like the other photos that are already on their website for the product. So they're like, okay, it needs to look like this and it can only be shot like this and the crop can only be this.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends, I think. Usually if it's like a lookbook, which will be like the products on a model, but not in like the static, like, I'm turning away, I'm facing towards you, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Those will be more like collaborative.
What do you mean?
So like the lookbooks will be more collaborative. So like the creative director will have a vision, but then they'll also kind of let the photographer like tinker around with like the vision that they have. Okay.
Now, is it easier when they're like, this is exactly what I want, and you're just like, all right, I just have to fulfill this? Or do you like being able to kind of do whatever you want?
I like being able to do what I want if I also am like into the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be shoots that I'm on and I'm just like, I'm not vibing with this. So like they give me too much freedom with like posing or lighting and I'm just like, what do you want? I don't know what I want for this because it's not for me. So like I need a little more direction.
Yeah.
Like if I'm vibing with the shoot, I'm like, okay, like I want to try this. I want to try that.
Yeah. When you're feeling it, it's like there was like a bumper sticker I designed for a guy one time and like he didn't know what he wanted, neither did I, but it was we were kind of like feeling it. And so we got to a point where it was like, because he didn't know how to describe it. So instead I sent him like a song. I was like, are you feeling like this? And it was Biggie Smalls, but it was put over like some like classical like opera. Like it was Can I Get With Ya put over Porti Vola, right? The song the guy sings in Step Brothers. Like,
okay.
Yeah, but it's Can I Get What You put over that? And he was like, that's exactly what I want. And like, so I was like, okay. And like, cause he literally, it wasn't like he wanted something, but he wasn't sure. He was like, I don't know what I want. He's like, I know these are the dimensions of the bumper sticker. And it was like, oh, so it could literally, like, you don't know if you want like text or like a picture of a tree and anything in between. So it ended up taking these like three like classical cherubs that were like painted on like the Sistine Chapel or something. And I took them and then I superimposed the sleeves of like Mac Miller and Post Malone on them. So, and like face tats. And one of them's like strumming like a guitar. You know, they're in heaven, but like they have like black fingernails and, you know, like, like rest in peace. And they have all the tats coming out. Like Post Malone's like always tired. And then like one of them's like smoking a joint, and the other ones are like looking like that. One of them has like a cup of lean, and he was like perfect. But like, point being is like, I was vibing with it. I was like, I feel it, I get it. Like we were kind of like, you know, you're grooving together on it. You're like, okay. Other times, people have wanted something, and I'm just like, in my mind, I'm just like, this is so stupid. This is the, yeah, you don't want to like say it to them because like they're going to pay you, but you're like, this is the dumbest fucking idea. And so like with that, you're like, when they're like, oh, just, use your creative freedom, you don't want to be like, well, personally, I think it sucks. So like, I'm not feeling it. So instead you're like, can you just tell me exactly what you want? And they're not artists. So then it just turns into this like shitty abomination, like hybrid. It's like, it's like this like half cow, half person. Like, it's just like, kill me now. But yeah, dude, do you find that when you're not like feeling it, and if it's not something that, because like you don't have to be feeling it, but if they say, we want it from this angle with this lighting, this background, and cropped in this dimension, well, then you don't have to be feeling it. It's like, all right, I'll just,
it's just a job at that point. So it's easier to just get in the headspace of like, well, it's a job, I'm getting paid, whatever, do what you want.
Yeah, I can look at memes later. Let's just finish this up. But when it's something you're not digging and they're like, you have creative freedom and you're not vibing with it, do you find, can you just, because for me, like, I couldn't just like turn on the creativity, because it's not like, it's not, the way I describe it is it's not in college, like biology major. If I wasn't feeling a class, it didn't matter because I just had to memorize like 500 terms, whatever. Yeah. Just do it. If you're not feeling like a design or something, they're like, yeah, just go wild with it. I could still like get it done, but like it wouldn't have the same like flair of other stuff I did that I liked, Yeah. It's almost, it's like going on a date and like the spark's just not there. You can like, you can like force it all you want, but like reality is like, it's not there. Do you find that like because for me, my work would suffer. I'd finish it. They'd be like, oh yeah. I'd be like, dude, sorry. Like I just wasn't feeling, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just not, it's stupid. Like do you feel that happens with you? And they're like, have some freedom with it, but it's not what you love. And you're like, like, there's no nice way to say I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think rather than like being hard on the person that I'm not enjoying the collaborative process with, I'm more hard on myself. Because like, if I feel like I didn't do a good job on the shoot, I always blame myself for it. And I'm like, well, why wasn't I creative with this? Like, why couldn't I get into this? It must be because like my creativity is limited and like, I shot this wrong and my lighting sucks. And my fault that the photos don't look good.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty hard on myself for like shoots that don't go the way that like either of us would want it.
It's like this thing that's, it's like it's kind of like an abomination, like neither of you want it, and it's like, like, can we just put it up for adoption? Like, like it's like, that's how I was too. I'd make something and I'd be like you're almost like not happy turning it in. But
like an assignment, you just kind of like
that you're not It's like when your parents aren't mad, they're just disappointed. Like, that's how it is. You're like, But the thing is so like now you have that thing you've produced, but now like that, for anyone else that wants work, that could be someone that's like, yeah, this is what they made for me. And it's like not your best work. So there's like this weird, you want your portfolio to only be your best shit, right?
Yeah.
But
which is because like you can curate a website, but the thing with social media is like people can post things you did 10 years ago and you're like, this is not what I do anymore, but they'll still tag you in it. So like, I worked with this person 10 years ago, here's like a throwback, like I hate this photo, like why are you tagging me in this? You always get rid of it, but like your name is always going to be on something like you don't like. So I don't know if you like have an Instagram for your graphic design or anything like that, but like I'll get tagged in photos from like a shoot that I absolutely hated, and I'm just like, oh, get rid of that. Hide the post for my feed.
Now, have you ever had something that like, to me, this one was like the worst of all outcomes? There's like vibing with it, there's not vibing, there's just doing the job. Have you ever had something that you were vibing with and you were feeling and you loved it, And they looked at it and they're like, ooh, not really what I was feeling. And you're like, what are you talking about? This is amazing. Like, I've had that where I make something and I'm like, this is the bomb. And they're like, not really. And I'm like, what do you mean not really? It's amazing.
It wasn't a paid job. So I had this big, like, project that I did. I can probably find the calendar, too, that I made for it. Because I was supposed to sell. I wasn't technically supposed to like make any money from it because I didn't pay anyone else. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of like giving away calendars that I made for this project that I did from 2018 to November of 2018, and then putting it out 2019 because it was like a 2019 fashion calendar. Mm-hmm. And I was in love with it. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Like, I worked a whole year on it, and then I put it out, and I was like, I'm going to get like 500 people downloading this calendar on my Squarespace. It's going to be great. Yeah. Like, I barely got 100 people to download it in the span of like 3 months. And I was just devastated.
Just heartbroken.
Yeah. 2019 was a horrible year for me. So, like, January until I believe like March, I didn't have a single shoot. Like, every single thing that I was doing got canceled. I had like so many like creative shoots that I was ready to do. Every single one of them got canceled or rescheduled because like the entire team like decided they couldn't show up that day, which is the other thing that sucks about photography is it's all collaborative. So like I can't do a shoot and be like, okay, I'm here. Like, let's make photos. Like, I need a model. I need a makeup artist. I need a hairstylist. I need a wardrobe person. If one person decides they can't show up, then, like, I have to cancel that shoot or reschedule.
That sucks.
Yeah. So, from, like, January to March last year, it was not a great time for me. And then also the calendar, like, completely flopping was, it was tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I'd say 2019 was, I don't know, I might say that was arguably like the worst year of my life. This year has been much better. In 2 months and a month and a half, this year has been fantastic. But like,
I've been shooting like so much in January. I took some time off this month just because I'm behind on editing because I had so many shoots in January. Yeah. So like, this year has been better for me too.
Yeah.
So.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
2019.
Yeah. You almost kind of need those. You almost kind of need those just like creative like hell zones to kind of appreciate these where everything seems like it's flowing. Like you have to have your heart broken and then almost mend it together and then it gets broken again. Like, and when that happens for like 3 months, 6 months, like a year, and you're like, oh, this is why artists commit suicide. Like, oh, this is okay, I get it. You're like, Van Gogh cut his ear. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. I get like dismemberment now. You're like,
knives in my house.
yeah. It's like, oh, I get it now. Because this sucks. Like, this is. It's one thing to go do a job you don't like. It's another thing when you're trying to do what you like and it doesn't work. You're like, well, shit, now I've just, like, curb stomped my passion.
Well, have you had the feeling that, like, so for me, it's always been, well, I guess it hasn't always been photography, but it's always been, like, art. So
for me, creative, yeah.
Grade school to, like, when I was in grade school to high school, I thought I was going to be an illustrator. Like, I was in love with manga, Japanese.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sure you probably do because you like Pacific Rim.
What? I don't know. I don't.
Like or Bleach or Death Note. No. Okay.
No, I also live under a rock. I didn't read Harry Potter till like 2016. I'm just someone like that. Yeah, like I'm someone like that who just literally is like so far like in culture in general. People are always like, what the hell do you do? Like, yeah. So
now I feel like I sounded condescending.
So. No. It's no, dude. I have in middle school. I would draw comics and I would like use like the school copier and I'd like sell them. In college, I was always doing. Granted, it was making like study guides for OChem and physics, but I was always being creative with it. I started in like 2016 trying to make like funny videos, and then I tried to be like a comedy writer, and then I wrote like short stories. I made a graphic novel about LSD. I taught myself graphic design, and now I'm at a podcast. But I cut you off, but what I'm with you in that it's all about creativity. I made a subreddit called Funner History last year, purposely spelled stupid, Funner History, and it's just.
Oh, it was fun or history. I thought that's what you said.
No,
like,
Funner, Funner. Yeah, not a word. It's people are always like, that's not a real word. It's like, yeah, no shit. But like, I'll Photoshop history photos. So it'll be like, it'll be like Abe Lincoln, but he'll have like night vision on or something, or it'll just be like fake shit,
Ass.
What?
George Washington with like a thick ass.
Yeah, some shit's like that, yeah. Or other stuff, it's like Vikings like driving dinosaur or like riding dinosaurs, like just. And I get nothing from that. I started for fun last January. Now it has 19,000 people there, and it just there's not. I don't get anything from it, but it's playing into what you said. It is creativity. Like I don't always know what it kind of it manifests in different ways. It might pop up as videos, podcast, graphic design, writing, shitty photoshops, but like, yeah. So sorry, I cut you off. In middle school, you said you knew you wanted to be or you thought you wanted to be an illustrator.
Yeah, I kind of also lost my train of thought. So we'll see if I can figure out.
There's no correct way to do this podcast. There can be no right and wrong because it's just whatever goes up goes up. That's the podcast. Yeah. Like there's no, you guys got off topic. Fuck you. There's no topic to get off of. It's just,
It's conversation. We can say what we
want. Exactly. It's my podcast. Do whatever I want.
You make the rules.
Yeah. I'm the king. But, yeah. But.
Yeah, so I was saying something like grade school to high school. I thought I wanted to be an illustrator. I wanted to do like comic books, move to Japan, like make comic books there. And then, I guess I could just tell you how I started photography, because it's the stupidest story ever.
No, dude, go. Just go. Who cares? Go.
Who had a DeviantArt when that was a thing. And she would post photos on her DeviantArt that she, like, took with, like, the dinky little, like, digital camera at the time.
Yeah.
So, it's like, I looked at those, and I was just like, I could do better than that.
Yeah.
So I started taking photos to like completely spite her. I don't think her a friend at the time because like I obviously didn't like her. So I started posting photos on DeviantArt and I was like, oh, I like this.
This is fun.
And I had this one art teacher who would always shit on my artwork because I drew like comic book style.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to draw more realistic.
Fuck that
guy.
So
literally every time I would draw something, he'd be like, why are you making it look like anime? I'm just like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
He like basically tanked my confidence with illustration. And I think at the right moment, I was like, okay, well, here's something else that I like and I'm good at. So I just kind of switched over to photography.
Yeah.
And that was my senior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to go to college for commercial photography. And then that sucked too. But
yeah.
I think that's college in general.
Yeah. I don't know anyone, like, aside from the few friends I have that became doctors, or it's like they do use everything they learn in college. Yeah, I don't know anyone that's like, thank God I went to college. Like,
I know, right?
Everyone does something polar opposite. It's just, yeah.
You said you did biology in college?
Yeah, I was a biology major, and I applied to medical school. I got into like that's what I did. And now I'm. If I had just known that I was going to do podcasting, like I could have finished. I could have started this in high school, but it's coulda, shoulda, woulda. I can't possibly have known this. It's one of those things that like it takes all those years of like trial and error and failure to kind of find out what you like,
Yeah.
Like, is it something that slowly dawned on you that you enjoyed photography more, or was it just that art teacher shitting on your drawing style?
I think I've always been kind of interested in like different things. So my sister, my oldest sister, she was always a huge film and like movie person. She wanted to be an actor for the longest time. She was like a singer as well. So she got me really, really into movies when I was growing up, and music and whatnot. So I've been all over. Like, I think I just didn't know exactly like what I was good at. And I'm like such a perfectionist where if I'm not good at it immediately, I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I played guitar for like a year and I sucked at it. I couldn't figure it out, but I really wanted to do music.
Yeah.
And then I kind of gave up on it because I was like, oh man, I suck.
Yeah.
And my senior year before photography, I was like, oh, I want to do films. I want to make movies. I want to write scripts. Like, I loved writing stories for like stupid little comic books that I made, like early high school. And then
like what?
I tried to make a movie for my senior year, and it sucked. And I was like, oh man, can't do this.
Yeah.
I suck at it.
Yeah.
Photography, I feel like, is super accessible and easy to get into, which is why I was able to stick with it longer. Because I was like, oh, I like the composition of this photo, and like, there's nothing really wrong with it.
Yeah.
So I can like see improvement in myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why it was easier for me to like latch on to photography.
Yeah.
Just because my perfectionism was able to like manifest itself.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, same. I literally have clinical OCD. Like that's why, like, I think that's part of the reason why like I loved being pre-med so much. Because it was so like, here's like organic chemistry, here are all the equations, memorize them, and if you know the percentage you memorize is probably going to be the percentage you get on a test. So I would get hundreds. The class average, I shit you not, would be like a 50. But I was just in OCD heaven. I was like, take everything here, put everything here. Hey, like, whoo, I can do this. And yeah, it's once you get better and better at it, you get more confident doing it. But it definitely sucks starting at something. But you like, I don't know. It's also like you can't be good at it at first. Like I've only been doing, this is episode number 37. I've been doing this since December 12th. Of last year, like
37.
Yeah, woo. But yeah, it was like I'm just started at this. But even now, I can look at ones like 2 months ago. And I'm like, oh Jesus, that's terrible. And it's something that I can like manifest perfectionism in. Like now I can like literal. It's almost like organic chemistry. I can like look at like metrics of like who's sharing it, how many views it's getting, like duration, and I'm like, so it's like OCD. Heaven again. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, you can see little bits of growth, and it's for me, and I'm gonna tie this into photography. I'm finding that like I don't look at like how other people podcast. I don't want to know how other people podcast. This is mine, and I'm improving my thing. And that's what like makes me happy. You know, other people are like, you swear too much. I'm like, that's just how I talk. Like I don't try to swear. Like what?
It's not as like genuine of a conversation if you're not talking like how you usually would.
Exactly. And do you find that with photography? Are you like, this is what I want to do, and like your progress is subject? I mean, obviously there's like clients, like that's an objective success. But for you, like, do you find like I'm doing stuff this way, other people might be like, what are you doing? Am I like putting this in the right way? Like, kind of do your own, like, not everything can be like broken down into a science of like you're getting better, like you're running faster and you're getting a shorter time on your 100-meter. Like for me, a more successful podcast, I would say this one is more successful than the last one, which is more successful than the last one, because like I'm getting better at like, you know, talking to people I want to talk to, and, you know, trying to interrupt less, which I clearly am doing a terrible job of. Like,
fine. I'm more of a listener to begin with. Okay. So like, really, if you interrupt me, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like how do you feel with that with like photography? There's your progress, and then there's what other people see as progress.
Yeah, I would say what I can tell from my progress is just like the technicality of lighting, because it's so like specific. Like certain kinds of lighting is so specific that it's like cool to see when you are actually getting it done right. And I can kind of look back at like photos I did like a year ago and just be like, lighting in that sucked. Like I could have done that 10 times better if like with the knowledge I have after that shoot and knowing what I can do now, I could do that lighting 10 times better and make it look like just 10 times better.
Yeah. So, and probably do it in half the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I feel like the progress I can see most in. And then editing as well. Like my editing fucking sucks. I've had so many people tell me that like I'm so bad at editing.
Fuck them.
Like one of my clients told me that.
Well, fuck her too. Dude, get better at editing to spite them. That's what you got to do.
Exactly. So that's what I've been working on. There's like 2 different kinds of like skin retouching editing. One's called frequency separation, which apparently everyone hates and like no one wants you to use, but it's like the easiest and the fastest way to get things done. And then there's dodge and burn, which is like if there's like a single crease in someone's face, you just go in with a little paintbrush and you do that for like an hour until that line doesn't look like a line anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, this hurts my brain. I have to just stare at the screen for hours.
You got to get a podcast or an audiobook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, whenever I'd be doing like a design on Photoshop, the hard part was figuring out what I wanted to do. But then once I knew what I wanted, like those cherubs, it took me like 2 days to like cut them out pixel by pixel so it looked perfect. To me, that was like OCD heaven, because I would just listen to an audiobook and it was just like I don't have to think about what I'm doing. I'm just doing like so yeah, you're like that's hell. To me, I'm like, oh, that's heaven. But
it sucks when I don't have the podcast that I usually listen to. So Tuesdays, and that's when all of my podcasts don't put out new episodes. And I'm just like, what do I sit here and do for like the next 3 to 4 hours while I'm doing this one little line on this person's face?
I have to.
I'm watching like endless hours of YouTube videos that I don't even care about, but like I have it on half my screen and I'm just kind of like, someone entertain me and talk to me.
Yeah. It's like the meme, like, it's like, parents, why do you always listen to podcasts? And it's like me, so I don't have to be alone with my thoughts. Like, it's like, dude, that's terrifying, man. I'd rather go fight on the front lines than be alone with like my inner stream of consciousness. Like, you piece of shit. Are you? What do you need to get up?
Oh no, sorry. My house is freezing cold, and I had this one heater right here, and I turned my chair away from it, so I was freezing, and I thought it turned off for a second because, like, I don't know why, but it does the thing where it just kind of like shuts off whenever it wants. So I was making sure it was on.
All right.
It's like 5 degrees in Chicago right now.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Fun time.
Jesus Christ. I like the cold. I don't like that much cold. More appearances in podcasts than not.
I wanted him to come over here, but he won't. He refused both. That thing where he's staring at me and he's like, no, you come to me.
Yeah. Cats judge.
Yeah.
Dogs are just like ride or die. Like, I'm here for you. You just killed someone. I don't care. I love you. Cats are very much like.
It's very much like that as well, honestly. Yeah. But he's also insane.
Yeah. Some cats will be looking at you and it's like, oh, I see you're wearing those boxers for a second day in a row. You're like, dude, fuck off. And it's just like, I'm just saying. Have you thought of you can go grab your cat. I don't care.
No, it's okay. He's just sitting right next to me.
Dude, literally, I've had 2 guys on that worked for NASA, and both of them had cats come in the room, and both of them, it's like a universal thing. Photographers, it doesn't matter. people are always like, "Oh God damn it!" You just see like a cat crawling. Yeah, one guy had this huge 3D printed, super accurate model of like a NASA rocket, and at some point I was just like, I see over his shoulder, I just see like a cat like inching. I was like, because earlier in the episode he had to like kick his cat out of the room. He's like, she'll like tear up the rocket, and he was talking, and I was like, and I was like, your cat's behind you. And he's like, oh God damn it, behind you. Yeah, have you thought about getting back into illustrating or writing or?
I've been just kind of drawing on my own time every now and then. I actually just got a sketchbook a couple months back just to be able to doodle again like I used to. I'm definitely out of touch with it. Like I'm really trying to get back in the groove of how I used to draw, but it's not anything serious or as like hardcore. I won't spend hours on something like I used to.
Yeah. Is it just like the passion isn't there for it? Like the love, like I'm like that. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say no. I'm like that where it's like I do more podcasting than graphic design now because I don't know. I'm not like drawn to it as much. You know, it's not. Yeah, it's like I do podcast because this is like all I want to do. Mm-hmm. When I'm graphics, I'm like I should, but I don't really. It's kind of the same thing like we talked about earlier. Like when you're not vibing with it, it's like I'll open it up like my iPad and I'll be like, I don't know, like what you can't force it. It's but have you like? So you want to be an illustrator, like you tried to do a movie, like you like Pacific Rim, you like manga. Am I saying that right? Manga?
I mean, either one is fine.
No, I don't know. So you clearly have, and obviously you do photography, so you clearly have a very creative side. I guess what I was getting at is like the shitty subreddit I made, Fun or History. It's like I made it because like I kept making these weird photoshops every once in a while of just like history, and I was like, I don't know what this is. Like I don't know how to. It's like not my primary work. Finally I was like, I just gotta make a subreddit because like I literally OCD, but I was like, I just want it all in one spot, and I kind of want it to like form its own little universe. Like they're not all like chronological or it's not. But I was like, I want it in its own universe, and it's sort of taken on its own life that way. That's what I was gonna ask. Is there anything that you want to do where it's like you make your own little universe almost like? And the great part about it is you can do it anonymous on Reddit, so there's no one like your work sucks Tommy. Instead it's just like your work sucks Reddit username, and it's almost like a little shield.
They can specifically say that you suck. It has to be I don't know, because I kind of lost a lot of my hobbies. Because like photography is my hobby and also my job. So it's kind of like, it's mostly everything that I do is photography based. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I don't really have hobbies outside of it.
Yeah.
Other than just like sitting around watching like Netflix or Hulu or something.
Yeah.
And my hobby, I guess now, is just watching TV. Like I'm trying to think of something that I do that's not pertain to photography that like I'll do for fun.
Okay, well, with photography, what would you do if you could just do whatever? Like, obviously, you have to find clients, but like, if you could get to a spot where you do whatever you want with photography for money, what would it be? Like, what's like?
I want to do set design. I feel like the one thing that I feel like personally is missing in my photography is like beautiful, elaborate sets, and like designing things is just kind of like something that I really like to do. For my calendar that I made, I would go to Home Goods and I would just buy everything I could for like one specific set for like the month of May. Mm-hmm. So like doing that calendar was kind of like eye-opening for me that I was just like, set design is super cool, and I want to be able to do that more with my photography.
Yeah.
But because set designing is so fucking expensive, it's hard to be able to do that for like every single shoot.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go to a set designer and be like, hey, do you want to do this shoot for free?
Yeah. Like, hey.
A person that's like, trade for pay.
Yeah. What this is a stupid question, but like, because it's pretty explanatory in the name, but like, what all is set design?
So it would be like, say a blank space room, studio, whatever, and then setting it up in a certain way to make it look like a movie set or like a music video set. So that'd be like getting props, designing the background, getting like something on the floor to make the floor look like, I don't know, if you wanted a wood floor, you get like wood panels and make it look like there's a wood floor there. And it could also be kind of lighting as well, because, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, it could be lighting as well, because like, you can see in like some music videos, there's like window light, but like that's not always natural sunlight. There's a studio light behind a window, and they just make it look like sun. Yeah. So that could also be part of set design as well, is like working on the lighting, the technical lighting of it as well.
So you said earlier, natural lighting versus studio lighting, like, again, stupid question because it's pretty explanatory, but like, what exactly is the difference? Like,
there's a whole like explanation I could get into, and there's like actual science and stuff.
Oh no, screw that. Tell me what's like how you see it. Tell me how you see it. Like, what's interesting to you about it? Like, you don't need to break it. Like, here's what set design it. Like, no. Be like, this one's brighter, that one's not. Like, fuck off.
Natural lighting, it softens skin a lot more and just makes it look, natural. For lack of a better word, it makes it look more natural and like posed and a little more just like spur of the moment. Whereas in studio lighting, especially if you're on a backdrop, it's going to look a lot more like they're standing on a backdrop.
Okay.
Like, you could obviously use studio lighting outside, but it's super easy to tell when you do that, especially if it's like your main source of lighting. So there are ways to like mix like a studio light with outdoor sunlight and make the studio light look like the secondary lighting, and still have it look somewhat natural.
Okay.
But that's like mostly the difference. It's just how natural you want the photos to look.
Okay, I think I got it. Is what?
No, I was smiling because I was like, I probably did not.
Dude, I don't know anything about it, so whatever you say, I'm taking as fact.
I don't know how good that is.
Who cares? What is it? I've read this quote before. What does it mean when they say that photography is just painting with light? And you've mentioned lighting several times. That's, to me, I'm thinking about I guess it shows I'm not a photographer. I think about like, oh no, you're like, I don't know, the angle you get better at that or something, or you get higher resolution. Like, I don't. So what do you mean? Like, you've mentioned lighting several times.
Yeah, I mean, lighting is like the entire, like, I can't think of the word. I'm not great at expressing myself. Like, that is photography. Is like entire, like, culmination of photography. Like, if your lighting doesn't look good, you probably won't. So, like, even in early, like, 1800s, 1700s paintings, like, the lighting is the main thing that makes the painting look good too. So a lot of lighting technique actually comes from painters.
Oh.
So like the one that you would say is probably the most famous is Rembrandt lighting.
Yeah.
The triangle right here on your face. So usually it's like the light would be like here, maybe to the side a bit more, and it would cast a shadow across your face to create a triangle. And that's Rembrandt lighting. So like that was from Rembrandt paintings because that's the kind of lighting he would use while he was painting. So, I mean, lighting's basically everything in any kind of artwork, really.
Now, how much do you think that will ever be replaced by like purely editing? Where like it doesn't matter it doesn't matter. You could take the picture at 3 p.m., but you could make it look like it was 9 a.m. Like, is that ever going to completely like steal the?
It's already kind of there right now. Really? I don't know if you follow like anything pops up on your social media, but there are so many photographers that will take a photo and then do like their before and after, and I'm just like, was this at the same time of day? Like, how is this photo?
Yeah.
Some people are crazy good at editing where they can just make anything look like anything they want. I'm not, so I have to be able to do the lighting like at least somewhat really good.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, my editing will not be able to save it.
Is there now to someone who is a photographer? Are there telltale signs that like this has been almost like models with like Photoshop? It's like, you know, at some point like you can't even really like look at those images realistically anymore because it's like you can see like the time lapses of like them touching it up on Photoshop, and it's like this isn't the same person. Like this might as well be CGI. Like, oh, make your breast bigger, make your butt bigger, clean the skin, get the lighting. It's just like this. Yeah, but have you ever seen pictures where you're like, nobody looks like that? Like,
I'm a little less pessimistic about Photoshop, actually. I know a lot of people have that idea where like Photoshop is completely changing someone's entire appearance, but I feel like a good photographer doesn't make it noticeable. And if they're changing anything, they're not technically changing the body of the model, but they're trying to make like the clothing look less like frumpy on them. Or like if there's a weird like bend in like a dress, they're bringing it in to make the dress look better. So for me, it's more about how the clothing looks on the person. It still sucks because you're still changing a person's appearance, but for me, I think about it more as like, okay, the clothes look a little weird. We're trying to sell the clothes. We make the clothes look better. And I think for the most part, that's other people's thought process too. Like, obviously, there are photographers that are like, oh, her boobs are too small. Like, let's make them bigger. People are like horrible, and I don't know why they're still photographers. Like, if that's what they think about. But like for me, if I ever change someone's appearance or their body or anything like that, it is specifically to make the clothes look less like more figure hugging if they're supposed to be. No, I love Photoshop. I'm definitely not like, oh, it's not natural. I'm like, dude, fuck it, get the job done. I don't care, make it thick George Washington. I don't care, make his ass clap. I don't give a shit. Like, it's no. So I'm that. No, I don't care about that. I'm a cherry tree.
Yeah. Like, oh, hey boys. Like, it's like pouring water on himself. Didn't see you there. Have you?
Photo, but with George Washington's ass.
It's just thick George Washington. Like, I cannot tell a lie. Like, have you seen it's like a 10-second YouTube video, Winnie the Pooh, I'm dummy thick?
Maybe?
It's this like voice actor, and he's just like, I'm so stuffed with fluff, I'm dummy thick. He's like, the clap of my ass cheek is alerting the bees.
I'm gonna have to look that up now.
It's so weird, but it's one of those things you can't stop watching. Yeah.
I love those kind of YouTube videos that it's just like, who the fuck thought of this?
It's like, who the fuck made it? Replay. This is so stupid. Replay. I can't stop watching this shit. Gotta share it with 10 friends. So yeah. George Washington, dummy thick. That'll be the next project.
Please.
Yeah. But like, wasn't there something like or am I just completely making this up? But wasn't there something a couple years ago where it was like makeup companies, it was almost like you have to like state whether or not you're using Photoshop because the thing you're selling is about like making, changing your appearance. And they said it was almost like, I think it like there's actual like, it had like a legal basis where it was like it's false advertising, and it was like you have to like note whether or not.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or if that's just bullshit or if it just doesn't matter.
I think I heard about that too, but I think no one really does. Like, yeah. I haven't seen anyone say like,
yeah,
you have been retouched, because I think it's pretty obvious. Everyone knows now that like,
it's pretty
that's just how it works.
It's pretty
like,
accepted, yeah.
A makeup product for like foundation, and then like have it be creasy. Like, sure, it's false advertising, but like, do you want it to be false advertising or bad advertising? Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You want to sell a foundation and have it look horrible on a model. Like, yeah. Some people don't have good skin. That's fine that they don't. But like, how I see skin retouching is, if you're looking at me right now, you're not going to see I have a pimple right here, because like it's a moving conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But photography, you can stare at a photo and just look at that one photo, and you'll see every single flaw on that person. In real life, you're not seeing all those things because you're not. It's not a static image.
Okay.
So I like to think of it as you're getting rid of the things that like you wouldn't immediately notice on a person if you were just looking at them.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
I don't know if that's like a good way to justify like making someone look different, but that's how I justify it to myself.
No, that's brilliant. I wouldn't have thought about it that way, but it is true. It's like, yeah, you're not gonna like pimple, but you're not gonna see it in everyday conversation.
Yeah.
Then it's and if you're doing a picture, yeah, you almost gotta clean it up, because it's like it's almost like it would be like dramatic reenactment. It'd be like, this is what it really looks like in real life. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I guess so.
And with lighting too, like if your lighting is really harsh on someone, you won't be able to see how that affects their skin in real life, but you will see it in studio lighting. Like, studio lighting will bring out every crevice in your skin, every wrinkle.
Yeah.
And like, it's fine. I don't care about that. Like, if you're not trying to sell like beauty to someone, then I mean, I don't know. That's horrible to say too. I'm conflicted about it. I'm conflicted about it. Like, for myself, I also have like body image issues. So like, on the one hand, I see what people say. I understand it. But on the other hand, I'm like, I'm not gonna not do like what I think looks best for a photo. So, like, I can understand where they're coming from. So I'm just kind of like in this weird middle ground where I'll defend it, but at the same time I'll be like, oh, what I'm saying, it doesn't sound great.
Yeah. No, I get it. But it's kind of like, but I also get it, because it's like, you can take a selfie, or you can take a picture. You can take a picture of yourself in the mirror in your bathroom, go downstairs, take the same picture in your living room, go outside in your driveway, take the same picture. The lighting is so wildly different. Like, I remember, I don't know, this one always sticks in my brain, but like a friend of mine made like a Facebook status in like 2010, and it was like, guys, you're not special. Everybody looks jacked in car windows. But I never thought about it. And I was like, yeah, when it's sunny outside and it's like the concave or whatever convex nature of it, in the way it illuminates like every vein and muscle. But I think about that all, like, guys, everyone looks jacked in car windows. But yeah, but on the flip side, it's like everyone looks terrible in like 360, like super bright lighting, because there's no shadows. It's like everyone looks like a marshmallow, you know? Yeah. Shit. I don't know. What kind of random question. Have you seen Cloverfield?
I have, yes.
Yeah. Did you like that?
It scared me.
Yeah, that was scary as shit.
Spiders are like my number one fear. We actually had like a horrible spider infestation in our apartment.
Fuck that.
I not sleep because I thought spiders would be crawling on me at night. But like when I saw Cloverfield, I was like, oh, I hate spiders, and now they're like killing people.
Yeah.
Like this is a nightmare for me.
Did you ever see?
Didn't even scare me. I was like, these spiders though.
Did you ever see 8-Legged Freaks?
No.
I watched that in middle school. That fucked me up for like 6 months.
That was Gremlins for me. Gremlins was my 8th grade horror movie.
Dude, 8-Legged Freaks fucked me. What about I watched The Exorcism of Emily Rose by myself.
Oh, God.
At like 3 a.m, my sophomore year of college, in the frat house I lived in, when everyone was out of town. Like, I chose this night. When
you picked the worst time to watch a movie about demons.
Yeah,
because those are these kind of movies.
Yeah. And then like 2 years later, I watched Insidious on a weekend where everyone was out of town, so it was just me. Dude, I ended up like locking my bedroom door, and like when I'd have to go to the bathroom, I'd like psych myself up. Like unlock the door and like
I turn the lights on. I'm like, I'm not walking around this house like alone at night with darkness around me. I gotta turn the lights on.
Dude, yeah, it's oh my God. Not that
so well with me. Are you like a horror movie person?
No, I hate horror movies.
And yet you watch them on your own?
I've like twice. I don't know. I guess it's like if I'm gonna go like dip my toes in, I'm gonna jump in. Almost. Yeah. I don't know. It's like if I'm gonna scare myself, I'm gonna fucking terrify myself. What?
Have you seen any like recent ones?
I don't know.
I feel like I'm not a horror movie person at all, but I've seen 3 horror movies in this past like year or so by myself in a movie theater. I saw Get Out, which was like
that was
kind of a movie, but it's still kind of comedy.
Yeah.
I saw Us, I saw Hereditary, and I saw Midsommar, and I saw them all on my own, and I was just like, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
Like, they were good movies, so.
Yeah. I watched Get Out. That one was more like creepy than scary.
Like a thriller.
Yeah. Have you seen Uncut Gems?
No, I've been meaning to.
Dude, I saw that.
It was so good.
I saw that with my family like the day or two after Christmas. That one is like a virtual reality ride for people that don't have anxiety, that want to experience what anxiety is like. Like, I have terrible anxiety, but I remember going to that movie like not being anxious.
Yeah, and then you were like, oh no.
I was like sitting with my brother, like, but it's not like scary at all. It's not scary. It's like a masterpiece in like editing and lighting and like sound and like continual cuts. Because I remember at one point, like 10 minutes in, I was just like, I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, what? Because like a scary movie, you almost go in like, it doesn't matter what the first thing comes up. You're like, this is a scary movie.
Yeah.
So you're on your like guard. Like, yeah. I knew it was Adam Sandler, but I knew it was like him trying to do a serious movie. So I was like, more so like open-minded. Like, yeah, let's see this. And I remember like 10 minutes in, like I couldn't put my finger on it, but I could, like my like feet were kind of like aching. Like my back I was just like kind of tapping, and I was like, what? Because it's not scary at all. It's about like gambling. And I turned to my little brother. I was like, are you? And he goes, I'm so anxious. And I was like,
don't even finish. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. And I was like, and then like our older brother, who's just like fucking stone faced, nothing bothers him ever. In high school, I watched someone punch him in the face, and he nothing. Like, these guy's a monster, built like a brick shithouse. And I remember I like looked past my little brother, and I looked at him, and he was like, he like looked over at me, and he was like, and like 30 minutes later, I like looked at my little brother. I was like, dude, I can't do. He's like, I need to go outside. And I was just like,
that's the beauty of a good movie, though. Like,
yeah.
If it makes everyone feel like that, like, you know it's a good movie.
Yeah, like the movie ended, and like we got in the car. I was like my aunt and uncle, my mom and dad, and everyone was like, kind of like open the windows, let some like cold air, and it was just like, I don't know how to describe it. Everyone was just like, I almost feel like I need to go for a run. It was just like, I don't know. It was almost like
all the tension that was like built up while watching it.
Yeah, and that movie, I would say, I think that was more and it just in hindsight, that movie bothered me more than I think any movie I've ever seen. Scary movies are scary, but it's, I don't know. There's always part of you that like it's a scary movie. Like you still leave like a light on, and like you still, but it's like ultimately like a demon isn't like dancing downstairs or something, or there's not like 2-ton spiders. This movie was like
demon movies because you can't see them in the movie ever. So you're
that's
just
true.
Like, in my house,
they might be here. I might be the first case. Like, it's
like monster movies, they always end up dead at the end, but the demons like never really dies.
You're
so
right.
You're just kind of like, oh, they're still there. And
yeah.
They can stick with me.
Yeah, and it's also like, is like depression, and anxiety. Is that not like a real life demon? Here's this thing, you can like feel it coming on, and it's like latching to yourself, and you're like, oh, hey, buddy, you're back. I saw one thing. It was like, I don't hate my demons because at least they're always there for me. Like,
the one thing that I have that I can rely on.
Yeah, it's just talking to myself, like, putting me in a straitjacket. But yeah, dude, I would say Uncut Gems, like, that bothered me more than anything else because it's like the feeling of like when you like you like have to do something and you're like putting it off, almost like a paper or like paying rent, or you told some friends that you'd go to a party with them and you decided you didn't want to go, and you're just kind of like ghosting them, and they're texting you and you're like or when someone calls you and you're staring at your phone, you're like, stop ringing, stop.
You're just like, all right, when will it stop?
Yeah, when can I go? I'm sitting on the toilet, I'm looking at memes, like, stop. But it was like that. It was like that manifested. It was just this feeling of like someone knows something, and it's my fault. I don't know how to describe it, but in that sense, I'd say that was like the scariest movie ever. You need to fucking see it.
I've been meaning to. I would say Midsommar was that for me, and it wasn't really scary, but it was so like disturbing that the whole time you're just like, oh god, oh, I don't want to look at this.
What is it?
Florence Pugh. Do you know the actress? She was in Little Women and a couple other movies as well, but she was the lead actress in Midsommar. But like, she would have panic attacks because of an event that happened earlier in the movie. I don't want to like spoil it or anything, but she would have panic attacks throughout the movie, and they were so realistic that like I felt like I was also having like a panic attack, and just the whole movie just like makes you feel so anxious. And then there's just like, on top of that, they're like, dying, it happens, and you're like, oh god, now I have a existential crisis. Then all of a sudden they're like, also people are like getting drugged, and you're like, oh god, like I don't know how to handle this.
It's kind of like Taken, where like they get like kidnapped, and like you're like, this isn't like a scary like, ooh, demons, the devil. You're like, this shit happens. Like human trafficking. There are more slaves today in 2020 than there have been at any time in human history. You're like, this isn't fun. I came here to have fun. You're like, this is addressing problems that I don't want to address. What?
I just want to watch Liam Neeson beat people up.
Yeah.
Now I have to watch this girl get kidnapped from under a bed.
Yeah, and she's like crying. You're like, this isn't fun. Like, this is real. These are problems I don't want to address. Yeah. But yeah, dude, we're coming up on hour and 20 minutes. So
it flew by.
Yeah, I know. It's fun when there's not like a script, like, all right, I'm going to ask you about photography and you're going to answer some questions, like some late night TV show bullshit. I've had
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. All right, well, go out and get your tickets, folks. Like, brought to you by Colgate. Like, No, dude, it's like...
Although I'm sure you would like the sponsorship.
I would take the money. Don't get me wrong. I will shit on it all day, but I am not above that at all. I will take any sponsorship. But yeah, I've had people ask, like, why don't you do like pre-planned questions? And I'm like, I feel like I'm just betraying like myself and everything I hold true. If I messaged you like questions beforehand, like, hey, I'm gonna ask you these and we can move from here to here, I'd be like, this is like some shitty role play. Like, fuck that. Like, I'd much rather just like, we talked about kaiju and robots and Guillermo del Toro. Like, it's, yeah, dude.
We can do whatever we want.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. People are like, I need some like prepared questions. I'm like, I don't think this is for you. Like, I don't.
It makes me less nervous as well, like personally, because I'm so like bad at talking, like in an interview, like an actual interview, like I'll fuck any interview up. I'm so bad at them. Stupidest answers. So like it makes it more like easy for me to just have a conversation rather than just like
photography this and illustrating that and what lighting do you use and brought to you by Nikon camera. No, it's like, fuck demons. You don't know if they're not real. How do you not know they're not real? Like, there's so many times where I'm like scared to watch one of my podcasts because I think I'm gonna see like the beginning of a horror movie. I'm gonna see like a shadow of something that's not there, and I'm gonna be like, fuck, and I'm gonna start seeing it more and more. Yeah, no, it's man. That's the other thing is like, I'd much rather do like the podcast online with people when they're at home, because like I was thinking like if you had to go like fly somewhere or even just go drive to some building and do it, doesn't matter if the podcast was, hey, it's gonna be chill and laid back.
Yeah.
You're never quite chill and laid back if you're like, oh shit, I'm leaving the house. Like, I gotta brush my teeth. There's always this certain sense of like going out into the real world. I gotta play the game. I'd much rather talk to people when they're at home because it's like their cat's running in, or it's like people be like, hey, can you pause it? Like, dude, I gotta go shit. Like, something like that. And it's as soon as
it's a feeling of dread as well, because like then you have the whole car ride until you get to the place and you're like, what am I gonna
doing this interview? I got one shot. I got like, oh shit, am I sweating? Like, yeah, dude, whenever I do podcasts, I sweat so much, and I'm like, oh cool, I'll just sit under the camera, no one can see. Like, it's you can and also not only that, like as soon as it's over, you press the button and it's over, and it's like, oh, I'm in my bedroom. Like, no. So for any,
just go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not only that, at any point during the podcast, you could just be like, I'm done. Just press a button, like, fuck this guy. I didn't sign any contract. Like, Yeah, I have had people do that. The last second, just be like, oh, it's not for me. Just be like, I don't mind that. Like, I really don't. I get anxiety. I really do. I also get ghosting people because I'm terrible with it. But like, I've told guests, like, if you can't do it, I was like, you don't even have to like worry about some valid excuse. Just tell me, like, I don't want to do your shitty podcast. I'm like, that's fine, but just tell me, just so I can like get someone else. Like, I had one guy that was just like, you know what, man, it's really not for me. I'm just not digging it. I was like, that's all I need, bro. Like, thank you. Like, thank you. But it's when it's like 10 minutes past the time when it's supposed to start, and it's like,
you're just like, all right,
where are you at? And like, I know they're staring at their phone when I'm calling. I know they're sitting there like, stop calling. Yeah, and it's not only that, is it's like with you, I always message people beforehand. I'm like, tell me how long you want to go, and I'll just wrap it up. Like, there's no like, all right, we gotta get in the last couple talking points and like, play us out. It's just like, all right, that's the end. Peace, yeah. Time's up. Well, peace, fuckers. Like that. So, yeah. So, you got anything else you like? I don't want to like kick. That's the other thing. I don't want to like kick you off. Like, I'm just. You said like hour 15, hour and a half. So we're right in the middle of that. So I figured I'd finish it up. But yeah, dude, thanks for doing it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
I love podcasting, so it was so cool to see your message. I was like, oh my God, my first podcast.
Oh my God. Yeah, like, woo. Yeah. Most people are really excited to do it. Some people are like, oh, this would be a great opportunity for me. And I'm like, so I don't have 10 million followers. I have 90. Some people won't respond. They'll be like, oh, I thought I was pitching my what?
It's 90 people still.
Yeah, hey man, it's 90 in 2 months. I am proud of that. It's yeah. But yeah, I always kind of have to like include that with them, like, hey, just so you know, there's like, I'll like happily, like, I always put people's websites and companies in the bios, but I'm like, just so you know, this isn't like, you're not going on like Jimmy Fallon, all right? You know, it's like, if that's what you're hoping for, like, let's just stop while you're ahead. I don't want to disappoint you, but
honestly, that makes it easier as well, knowing that there's not a bajillion people that are going to see me and be like, who the fuck is she? Like,
who the fuck is that? I like this podcast. This guy normally delivers. Who the fuck is that? You know, like, yeah, it's not that at all. And it's also like, it's not live. Like, I put it up after. That's the other thing. People are like, are you going to do it live? And I'm like, fuck no. And like, part of me is like, I don't want to put that on my guests. I want to be able to edit out anything they don't want up there. But I'm also like, I don't want to talk live. Like, I get anxious.
You have to be on your game for however long. Well, and that's worse for you than for like me. Who just gets to sit here and just watch you. Yeah.
Entertain me, fuckboy. Like, you know, like, dance, monkey. The idea of doing it live, fuck that. Even if one person was watching, I put on a fan outside my door just so no one can hear me talking. I'm like, that's how much I don't want anyone. I'm like, that's how much I can't, like, no, it's just me and the person. Yeah, it's so much easier that way.
That's what I'm have, because I didn't want my boyfriend to come home and see me like sitting here like talking, because he would for sure judge me. Yeah,
like, oh yeah, I've had like people walk in before and I'm like yelling and arguing about something and it's just like, hi. You know, it's like, it's literally like a cat, just like, this is what you're doing. Yeah. So yeah, it's but I always try to make more of an ass of myself than anyone else, so no matter what, the guest will always look better. So yeah.
Well, I can do a pretty good job of making myself look stupider than someone else.
Fuck that, dude. You're rocking a Captain America hat. That's as good as it gets. All right. Yeah, man. Thanks for doing it. I'll send you a link when it's up. My internet's terrible, so it takes forever to upload. It's also, this is like a brand new MacBook. It still fucking overheats because it screen records in 4K, but like,
cool.
Yeah.
Do most people do that?
Do most what?
Like screen record in 4K?
This laptop is like 6 months old, and so it does like the dimensions of the screen.
Yeah.
But the thing is like Skype is not recording in 4K, so it's like it's a 4K. It's like a 4K upload of like a 720p image, so it really doesn't matter. So like right now, this episode right now is 28 gigabytes, which is fucking huge. So I compress them all to 720, so they come out to like 3 or 4 gigabytes. Even that on like a top of the line MacBook, this thing overheats. Like, it's so intensive. So yeah, I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, it takes like an hour to like process it, just to compress it. And then I didn't know this, but apparently like I had no idea that there's like you have like two internet speeds. You have download and upload. 99.9% of what we use is download. Like, I think right now we're downloading each other's data. Instagram, you're viewing other people, you're downloading it. Uploading it is a completely different like pipe, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's like 1/200th the speed. So like,
oh, it's like very, very slow compared to like the downloading. Yeah. Like
download Pacific Rim Uprising. It'll be like 10 gigabytes. It might take like 20 minutes. Upload this I uploaded one the other day. It took 18 hours. It was 10 gigabytes.
one that you said you did?
Well, yeah. Remember, yeah, when I was like, yeah, I'm doing like a record one. Me and the dude ended up talking for 4 hours and 27 minutes. Granted, that's not indicative of normal episodes. That one was fucking. Most of them are between an hour and an hour and a half.
And when you said 6 hours, I was like, I hope he doesn't think I will do that.
Yeah. No. I've had a couple that are like under an hour. Most I would say go to like an hour, between an hour and an hour and a half. Several more 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Some of them just like they just keep going and going and going, and like they're not about like the guy I had on like a military interrogator. Like it's not like we're talking about military interrogator. Like we go off into the weeds. We're talking about like artificial intelligence and aliens and Area 51. Like, you know, we go way off. But like with those ones, once they get to like a certain point, I'm almost like, fuck it, this is what I'm doing. You know, it's like, you know what? No, you know when you sit down and like a movie's on or something, you know, you're like a little higher, a little drunk, and you and your friends no one can find the remote, so you're watching it for like 10 minutes. And then you get to a point where you're like, I'm invested now. Like, I'm watching this shitty movie. No, I need to know what happens. That's what happens. If once we hit like 3 hours, I'll be like, this is what I'm doing. And I'll like throw my phone. I'll be like, no, we're doing this. And yeah. Yeah, it is. It's like,
just this.
Yeah. And yeah, it gets to a point where it's like, fuck it, let's keep going. So yeah, no, no, for anyone listening, it can be 30 minutes. I don't give a shit. I found you can't really ease into like cool conversations until like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of get off once you get, I don't know what it says about like my podcast, but I find the conversations get good once we go completely off topic and don't talk about what either person's like specialty is. Like,
well, it's because people, as much as they love some of the things they do, or maybe even don't love it, like people are more interesting than just their jobs. Yeah. Like they have like opinions and like hobbies and interests that are like, they're going to be more passionate to talk about those things sometimes than they are about like what they do for work, because I'm sure they talk about that 24/7.
Yeah.
Just anyone who's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Explain it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I'm an accountant. This is what I do. Like, I've tried to have on so many of my friends from college, and they're like, dude, I'm not like interesting. And I'm like, it's almost kind of sad because I'm almost like, I'm not talking about like, talk about law school. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to get like the funny motherfucker I know from college. Like, you know, like that guy, like, cause like so many of my friends, I'm like, they're like brilliantly hilarious. They would be awesome podcast guests, but they're like, I don't know, what would we talk about? And I'm like, the shit we talked about when we'd wake up hungover in college. Like, you know, like that, like, and it's, sorry, I know I'm stretching this podcast on, but like, the other thing is like, it's so depressing when I'll have people, I'll be like, dude, do you want to come on? And they'll be like, I don't know. My wife wouldn't be happy. Or like, I don't know if my job would allow that. And I'm like, what are you doing in life where you can't like shoot the shit? Like, I get it if you don't want your, like, you don't hurt my feelings if it's just like, dude, I just don't want to be like talking about what we did in college, like in public. Like, I get that. That's fine. You know, I have friends that are lawyers and doctors who like, I completely get. You don't want to be talking about like, hey, remember when we got really drunk and stole that stop sign? Like, you can't be talking about, you know.
Their patients accidentally listen to the podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's people like, yeah, I get that. But I've had so many people that are like, I would love to, but like, my job would crucify me. And I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, like that's prison. Like,
yeah, that's the great thing about being self-employed.
Yeah, that's
I can decide what I want to do.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping is like, yeah, like the idea of like I can do and say whatever I want on podcast. The idea of someone being like, let's clean up the podcast. Could, you know, a little too much language, Tom? I'd be like, oh my God, get me a rope so I can hang myself. Like that's death to me. It's man. If I can't do this. Just bullshitting, you know, like literally halfway through be like, hey, I gotta go pee. I'll be right back. You know, like if I can't do that, then that's evil.
Do you have a part-time? I was going to ask.
I'm in online graphic design school right now.
Okay. So that's like what you do outside of podcasting.
Yeah. And I want, but I'll finish that in 2020. And I'll start applying for jobs. Like I don't like I kind of want like I want a podcast. But I thoroughly enjoy it. I want this to turn into money. When I say, I always say this, when I say I want this to turn into money, I mean like what you're doing. Like you're solving.
You want to be able to make money from it.
It's not like, I want my penthouse and my Bentley. Is like, no, I mean, that would be cool. But like, no, that's, to me, I'm like, I just want to like not have to do something that you wake up and you're just like, oh, like, does that make sense? You're self-employed.
Yeah, I don't want to be like the best photographer in the world, as much as that sounds great. I just want to do photography and get paid for it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like Mark Maron of podcasting, but like you'd love to make the money that he does.
Yeah, sure. Like I would love to be able to pay like my bills. Like, like the problems of life never go away. Like, it's not like I can make all this money and then everything will be Gucci. Like, no, dude, someone's always going to die. You're always going to have friend drama, or you're going to get dumped, or whatever. You're going to get, it's just like life is never going to stop like throwing punches. Mm-hmm. And so I would, like, the problems will never stop. So like the way I look at it is like, I'd like to at least choose my problems. Like, I'd like the problems be like my laptop overheats, the internet connection sucks. I hope this does, I hope I can get monetized because I swear so much during this. Like,
world problems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm gunning for with this. Right now I'm trying to find sponsors. I'm just literally just emailing people. I'm like, hey, I'll wear your shirt on my podcast. Yeah. They're all like, no thanks. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, so it'll work eventually, I think.
We're gonna like share your podcast with everyone.
Please do, man. Oh,
yeah, and it was fun. It was fun to get to talk to you. I was a little nervous because, like, you never know with people you've never met before, like, what their personality is. You're like a cool, genuine dude who just likes to talk to people. So
I don't shut up. I'm just like my friend said, dude, you do it every day. You just haven't hit record yet. So like I do this shit at the gym, like just talk to someone. Like that's what I do. And it's just like, dude, why don't you record it? Like, so, yeah. Also, one thing I'm finding out, like, I'm so stupid. It took me until 3 guests ago to realize. I just asked them, like, hey, if you have any friends or anyone that's, like, interesting, tell them to come on. I've now had, like, 5 scheduled podcasts of, like, cool people that I would have never gotten in contact with except through friends. So, dude, if you know anything, think about it. You don't have to say it here. If you can think of, and like you've seen, like my threshold for like, I just had to have people on and talk. It's not like, how interesting are they? Have they won a Grammy? Like, no, dude, like, oh, you're self-employed and have a Captain America shirt, like, or hat? Fuck it, let's go. Like that, it's very like, as long as good internet and a good attitude, like it can be fun. So if you can think of anyone that would want to, or if you don't, that's cool too.
I can get my boyfriend on because he went to school for biology as well.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So that would be fun to just hear you guys talk about biology.
Oh, Jesus, my true stupidity would be put on display for everyone.
He thinks he's stupid as well, and I'm just like, dude, I didn't even finish college for photography. Like, I don't think you're stupid.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, man.
Like the smart kid syndrome. You think that you're stupid, and then...
Yeah. But, like, I always say I'm stupid, and people are always like, you're not stupid. But then, like, I don't want to be like, oh, is this smart kid syndrome? Or cause I'm like, that just sounds like a douchebag. Like, oh, I'm so smart. That's what... I'm like, no, I think...
People tell you have smart kid syndrome.
Yeah. Wait, what?
You can let other people tell you that you have smart kid syndrome, but don't say it yourself.
Yeah, well, I think I'm just, I say I'm stupid because I'm so smart. Like... No, I'm wearing a neon orange jacket doing a podcast. Like, woo! Like, yeah, I don't need to worry about that. Thank you for... what's your name? What?
Colleen.
Colleen, you said that at the beginning. I realized, I was like, I can't... No, that's my cousin's name. I recognize that right at the beginning. Okay.
So, as a kid, I used to collect Colleen names. Like, I thought it was such a rare name, and I was like, anyone named Colleen, I'm gonna find them. I found like 4 or 5 people, and it turned out we ended up having like neighbors in our backyard when I was growing up. The mom's name was Colleen, and then she named her daughter Colleen as well. And I was like, oh my God, there's so many Colleens. And then I realized it was just an Irish name and they were Catholic, and that's why.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm Irish Catholic, and yeah, my cousin's Colleen. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I realized that as we were wrapping it up, I was like, did I go this whole episode without finding out her name? But I realized, yeah, you said that right as you introduced yourself. So Colleen, thank you very much for coming on. I'll send you a link when it's up.
Awesome.
By all means, please pester and harass everyone you know. Be like and subscribe. Like, be that person. Be that person. Thank you very much, dude. I'll send you a message on Reddit when it's finished.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, dude. You too. Thank you. Peace.